In the Amazon, you can die without ever seeing the thing that killed you. A single sting, a single step, a single cut from a thorn, before you have time to react. It's already done. From the sky, the Amazon looks like paradise. A seamless carpet of green, stretching to the horizon, rivers coiling through it like blue veins. From the ground, it is something very different. It is a machine. A biological machine with one purpose: to break whatever doesn't belong. We've been calling this place the lungs of the earth, the veins of the planet. But no one who's walked its floor would describe it that way. Nearly 6 million square kilometers of heat, floodwater, venom, decay. A place where the air itself is alive, heavy with spores, insects, and organisms you will never see coming. And yet, this is also the most diverse ecosystem on Earth. A single square kilometer holds more species than entire countries. Beneath these leaves, hidden from view, is a machine so powerful that it reshapes weather for half a continent, quietly recycles enormous amounts of water, and influences the stability of our climate, even if you've never set foot here. So in this film, we're going to walk inside that machine. We'll follow rivers that exist only in the sky. We'll trace dust storms that start in Africa and end in South America. We'll descend into forgotten cities that lasers have pulled from beneath the trees. And we'll meet animals that look like they were designed in a fever dream. The Amazon is not just a rainforest. It is the world's most complex biological machine. And somewhere in the noise of chainsaws and engines, someone is quietly taking it apart, piece by piece. To understand what is at stake, we have to start with something simple: size. The Amazon basin covers more than 5.5 million square kilometers. An area larger than the European Union, spread across 9 countries. At its heart flows the Amazon River, technically the second longest river in the world, but by far the largest by volume. This river pours more water into the ocean than the next several largest rivers combined, carrying roughly 1/5 of all the fresh water that reaches the global seas. Every single second, An estimated 200,000 cubic meters of water slide past any given point along its lower course, the equivalent of emptying dozens of Olympic-sized swimming pools in the time it takes to finish this sentence. But the river is only half the story. Look up from the water and you see the real engine. A forest so densely layered that in many places, almost no sunlight touches the ground. Scientists estimate that at least 1 in every 10 known species on Earth lives in the Amazon, and that many more remain undiscovered. Insects, fungi, plants, and microorganisms that may never have been named. In a single hectare, an area about the size of a couple of football fields, researchers can find more tree species than exist in entire temperate countries. And that's just the trees. This is not an empty wilderness. Around 30 million people live in the wider Amazon region today, including, at least, a couple of million indigenous people belonging to hundreds of distinct groups, many with their own languages and ways of seeing the forest. For them, this is not a green blur on a satellite image. It is home, pantry, pharmacy, and sacred space. They carry mental maps of rivers, sacred groves, hunting grounds, and medicinal plants that outsiders might walk past without ever noticing. To really see the Amazon's power, you have to stop looking sideways and start looking up. Each tree here is more than just wood and leaves. It is part of a vast atmospheric pump. Altogether, the hundreds of billions of trees in the Amazon pull moisture from the ground and breathe it into the sky. By some estimates, this forest releases on the order of 20 billion tons of water vapor into the atmosphere every single day. More water than the Amazon River itself carries to the Atlantic Ocean. These plumes don't just form clouds overhead and stop there. Driven by winds and temperature gradients, they stretch out into what scientists call flying rivers, bowers, invisible corridors of moisture that carry rain hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. In parts of Brazil, Bolivia, and Argentina, farmers rely on rain that was once inside an Amazonian tree. When that moisture finally falls on soy fields, cattle pastures, and cities far from here, very few people realize they are drinking the recycled breath of this forest. Shut down these flying rivers by cutting enough forest that the machine no longer works, and you don't just change the weather above the Amazon. You risk shrinking rainfall patterns across an entire region. That is home to hundreds of millions of people. For years, we were told a simple, dramatic story that the Amazon produces 20% of the world's oxygen, that it is literally the planet's lungs. It's a powerful image. It's also misleading. The truth is stranger, and in some ways, more impressive. During the day, the forest does produce an enormous amount of oxygen as leaves perform photosynthesis. But at night, plants and animals breathe oxygen back in. And the army of decomposers on the forest floor consumes huge amounts as they break down fallen leaves and dead wood. When you add it all up, most estimates suggest that the Amazon's net contribution to global oxygen, what it adds beyond what it uses, is close to zero. If it vanished tomorrow, you would still be able to breathe, but the climate chaos that followed would make that a hollow comfort. So, instead of lungs, a better metaphor might be this. The Amazon acts like part of the planet's climate control system. It recycles heat, water, and carbon in ways that keep conditions more stable for everyone, including you. To understand why this forest is so productive, you have to visit a place that looks like its mirror opposite, a place where almost nothing grows. On the other side of the Atlantic, the Sahara is the largest hot desert on Earth. Nearly rainless, stripped of trees, it seems a world away from the Amazon's dripping vines and flooded rivers. But they are more connected than they look. Each year, strong winds scoop up tens of millions of tons of dust from this desert, especially from an ancient dry lake bed in Chad, called the Baudelaire Depression. That dust is no ordinary powder. It's loaded with the ground-up remains of microorganisms rich in phosphorus, a nutrient plants desperately need. High-altitude winds carry these dust plumes thousands of kilometers west, across the Atlantic Ocean. Satellites have measured that, on average, around 27 to 28 million tons of Saharan dust reach the Amazon basin each year. Inside that haze is something crucial, roughly 22,000 tons of phosphorus, almost the same amount the Amazon loses each year as heavy rains wash nutrients out of its soil and into the rivers. One system's loss is another's lifeline. In other words, this lush, dripping, seemingly self-contained rainforest partly exists because a distant desert keeps feeding it. The wettest forest on Earth depends on one of the driest places on Earth to stay alive. The story of the Amazon is not just the story of trees and rain. It is the story of dust, wind, ocean currents, and the long-range physics that tie continents together. Change any part of that chain, and you change the whole. There is a place near the city of Manaus where something happens that defies easy explanation. Two massive rivers converge and refuse to mix. On one side, the Rio Negro arrives dark, almost black, the color of strong tea. Its water is warm, slow, and acidic, stained by centuries of decaying vegetation from the forests it drains. On the other side, the Solimois flows in from the west, paler, sandy brown, loaded with sediment from the Andes, cooler and moving faster. For nearly 6 kilometers, these two rivers run side by side without blending. A sharp, visible line divides them, like a seam stitched into the surface of the water. One bank dark, one pale, separated by a boundary you could almost touch. The physics behind it is straightforward. The two rivers have different temperatures, different densities, and different speeds. These differences act as barriers, temporarily preventing the kind of turbulent mixing that would normally erase the boundary within meters. Eventually, far downstream, they do merge, and together they become what most of the world knows as the Amazon River. But for those 6 kilometers, you are watching two separate worlds travel in parallel. It is one of the most visually striking phenomena in the natural world, and one that no satellite image fully prepares you for. You have to see it from a boat, moving slowly along that invisible border to understand just how strange and precise this river system truly is. But the Amazon's power isn't just in its atmosphere, or its invisible nutrient cycles. It's also in the creatures it has shaped, beings so specialized, so extreme, that they can feel like visitors from another planet. Among them, one animal stands apart. Not the largest, not the most venomous, but the one that most completely embodies the logic of this place. The jaguar is the undisputed sovereign of the Amazon's forest floor. Compact yet immensely strong, it hunts where shadows meet the river. Its bite is the most powerful of any big cat, capable of crushing the skulls of caimans and piercing the shells of river turtles. Its spotted coat breaks sunlight into fragments, turning the animal into moving shadow. Unlike most big cats, it loves water. It swims across flooded channels with ease, stalks along riverbanks, and vanishes into the undergrowth when the current deepens. Solitary by nature, a single jaguar may patrol a territory spanning dozens of kilometers, or maintaining it through scent, claw marks on bark, and a silence that rivals the forest itself. Jaguars are not rare in the Amazon, but they are almost never seen. They see everything. You see nothing. That asymmetry is not accidental. It is the result of millions of years of evolution producing a predator so perfectly tuned to this environment that the forest essentially conceals it by design. Above the jaguar's territory, a different sovereign rules. The harpy eagle. One of the most powerful birds of prey on the planet, hunts from the highest crowns of the canopy. Its talons match a bear's in size. It does not soar in open sky like most raptors. Instead, it navigates the dense architecture of the canopy at speed, folding its wings to weave between trunks before striking. Sloths and monkeys, mid-motion on branches, are its preferred prey. It returns to the same nest for decades, raising one chick at a time, slowly, precisely, as the forest itself demands. Somewhere on the forest floor, among the leaf litter, a bullet ant goes about its business. It's big, up to the length of a human thumb. But if you just glance, it looks like just another ant. It is not. And the Schmidt Pain Index, a scale created by entomologist Justin Schmidt to rank the agony of insect stings. The bullet ant sits at the very top, a level 4 sting. Schmidt described it as pure, intense, brilliant pain, like walking over flaming charcoal, with a 3-inch nail embedded in your heel. The agony can last 24 hours. To local communities, this ant is not just a hazard. It is woven into rites of passage. For some indigenous groups, enduring its sting repeatedly is a test of endurance, courage, and identity, a reminder that surviving here is never comfortable. Move from the forest floor to the water, and another specialist waits. The electric eel, more accurately an electric knife fish, lurks in dark, slow-moving channels. It has evolved organs along its body that can generate powerful electric discharges, up to 600 volts in short bursts, with enough current to stun prey or seriously harm a human. In clearings, on bright leaves, tiny frogs advertise their danger instead of hiding. Poison dart frogs, like the golden poison frog, wear high visibility colors that say, "Do not touch." One golden poison frog carries enough batrachotoxin in its skin to kill multiple adult humans, a natural chemical weapon so potent that indigenous hunters once used it to tip their darts. Even in the water. The Amazon refuses to be ordinary. In the silt-heavy river channels and flooded forests, a strange shape surfaces, the pink river dolphin, or boto. This freshwater dolphin can grow over 2.5 meters long and exceed 180 kilograms. Its unusual pink coloration inspiring legends of river spirits that turn into human strangers at night. Their bodies are built for this flooded maze. Unlike their marine cousins, pink dolphins have flexible necks and large pectoral fins, allowing them to twist among tree trunks and roots during the flood season, hunting fish, turtles, and crabs in submerged forests. For people who live here, these animals are not just background. They're teachers, warnings, neighbors, and sometimes kin. The movement of certain birds can signal the coming of rain. The behavior of river animals can hint at floods. The presence of specific insects can tell you where food or danger lies. To survive in this environment, you don't conquer nature. You learn the rules of a game that started long before your ancestors arrived, and will continue long after you're gone. For a long time, outsiders told a particular story about this forest, that it was pristine, a wild, untouched realm where nature ruled and humans had only skimmed the edges. When some early explorers reported large settlements and wide roads in the Amazon, their claims were often dismissed as fantasy or exaggeration. How could millions of people live here, in thin, nutrient-poor tropical soils, without destroying the forest? Recently, a new way of seeing has changed that story. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, uses laser pulses from aircraft or drones to scan the ground beneath the canopy. By digitally removing the trees in the data, archaeologists can reveal the shapes of what lies hidden below. What they've found has been nothing short of revolutionary. In parts of Ecuador, Bolivia, and Brazil, LiDAR has revealed vast networks of earthen mounds, geometric structures, and straight roads up to several meters wide, stretching for tens of kilometers through what was supposed to be empty jungle. Some of these sites show evidence of planned urban layouts, central plazas, causeways, defensive earthworks, and sophisticated water management systems. In certain regions, archaeologists estimate that tens of thousands of people lived in connected settlement clusters that functioned almost like low-density cities woven into the forest. Scale that up across the entire basin, and some researchers now argue that before European contact, the Amazon may have been home to between 8 and 10 million people, farmers, fishers, engineers, artists, whose societies were devastated by disease long before most Europeans ever saw them. Beneath the forest floor, another clue lies in the soil itself. In patches scattered along the Amazon and its tributaries, researchers find terra preta, black earth. This is dark, incredibly fertile soil created by humans centuries ago by adding charcoal, bones, and organic waste, turning poor ground into long-lasting farmland. Terra preta doesn't form naturally at this scale. It is technology, a sign that ancient Amazonians engineered their environment intentionally, enriching certain areas, planting orchards, managing fish in engineered ponds, not by clear-cutting everything, but by carefully tuning the forest to human needs. This forces us to rewrite the myth of the Amazon as a place without history. The forest we see today is not just wild nature. It is, in part, a regrown garden over the ruins of complex societies that learned to live with abundance without collapsing it. There is a version of the Amazon that most people never see because it only exists for part of the year. And it is perhaps the most extraordinary transformation on the planet. Every year, as the rains arrive and the rivers swell, the Amazon does something that no other ecosystem on Earth replicates at this scale. It floods. Not the edges, not a few low-lying patches. The forest itself, tens of millions of hectares, disappears beneath water that can rise 10 meters or more above the dry season level. Trees stand submerged to their crowns. What was a forest floor becomes a riverbed. Fish swim between trunks that, months earlier, cast shade on dry ground. Pink river dolphins navigate through what were once treetop paths. Seeds fall not onto soil, but directly into water, where specialized fish have evolved to eat them, and in doing so, carry them to new ground. This annual flood is not a disaster. It is a design. The Amazon's biodiversity depends on it. The flooded forest, called Várzea in the low-lying areas, Igapo in the blackwater zones, is one of the richest freshwater habitats on Earth. Species that live nowhere else have evolved entirely around this rhythm: flood, recede, flood again. For the indigenous communities who have lived here for thousands of years, the rising water is not a threat to be managed. It is a calendar. It tells you when to fish in certain channels, when to harvest certain fruits, when to move your canoe along routes that exist for only a few months each year. The forest submerged is not the forest lost. It is the forest in a different form. And understanding that difference is what allowed humans to survive here long before the rest of the world knew this place existed. It's tempting, standing in a forest this vast, to think it could never truly disappear. That no matter what we do on the edges, the core will remain untouched, too big to fail. But that illusion begins to crack the moment you pull back far enough. Today, somewhere around a seventh, more than 10%, of the original Amazon forest has already been cut down, with certain regions, especially in the eastern and southern Amazon, losing 30% or more. From above, deforestation often starts as thin lines, roads carved into the canopy. Along those roads, small clearings appear, then expand, like cracks spreading through a windshield. Cattle ranches, soy fields, mining sites, dams, and logging concessions all chip away at the machine. Each new clearing changes how the land absorbs sunlight, how it stores water, how it generates clouds. Many scientists warn that if deforestation in the Amazon approaches 20 to 25% of the original area, large portions of the forest could reach a tipping point. Beyond that, the system might no longer generate enough rain to sustain itself, shifting toward a drier, savanna-like state. That would be more than just a change in scenery. It would mean the collapse of those flying rivers, the release of enormous stores of carbon into the atmosphere, and the reshaping of weather patterns far beyond South America. On the ground, though, a tipping point doesn't look like a line in a scientific paper. It looks and sounds like trees crashing in slow motion, like tinder-dry leaves igniting, like the quiet afterwards when the birds don't come back. It can be hard to connect this to your own life. If you live in a city thousands of kilometers away, the Amazon can feel like a vague, green patch on a map or a backdrop in nature documentaries. But every day, this forest is doing quiet work for people who have never heard a howler monkey or felt Amazonian rain on their skin. It is absorbing carbon that would otherwise heat your city. It is helping to shape rainfall that affects your food prices. It is dampening extremes in a climate system we have already pushed close to the edge. think of the Amazon less as someone else's forest, and more as part of the global infrastructure that allowed human civilization to flourish in a relatively stable climate for thousands of years. Losing it would be like losing a key structural beam in the house you live in, even if that beam is in a room you never visit. When we talk about protecting this rainforest, we're not talking about preserving a postcard. That question is no longer hypothetical. It is being answered right now, one cleared hectare at a time. In the time you've watched this documentary, countless things have happened in the forest you're looking at. Somewhere, a jaguar padded silently along a riverbank. Somewhere, a tree that sprouted before your country existed finally crashed to the ground. Somewhere, a child in a riverside village learned the name of a bird you will never see. Beneath the canopy, bullet ants still patrol, electric eels still flicker in muddy water, pink dolphins still rise like ghosts at dusk, and laser beams from aircraft still quietly map forgotten cities. Life goes on, indifferent to whether we pay attention. The difference now is that we know how fragile this system is, and how deeply connected it is to lives far beyond its borders. The forest will keep breathing, cycling water and carbon until we remove so many parts that the whole machine seizes. If this journey changed the way you see this place, if the Amazon shifted in your mind from a distant green smear to a living engine, share this film. Send it to someone who still thinks of the rainforest as a background, not a system they rely on. And in the comments below, tell us one thing you would never want to see disappear from this forest: a sound, an animal, a feeling. Because in the end, numbers and graphs don't save places. People who care do.